Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Talking Dogs with Ante. I'm your host, Ante Lucin, as usual. We broke all the records last week with our interview with Mike Gadsby, and in general, if we talk about last few weeks when we were interviewing, as I call them, master breeders, I saw that this is something that has been very interesting for all of you. I'm happy to see that now already in the first 5 minutes. Also here we are already with over 120 people watching it live. So I decided for February also to continue talking to people who have been successful in the dog world. Obviously, many of them in different aspects of the dog sport, but mostly as breeders. I need to say also that the sponsor of tonight's interview is So Posh Balkan. If you go to their Facebook page, you can check the rules for tonight's giveaway. And as usual, I will ask you during the interview if you can make a photo of your screen, put it on your Instagram story, tag me, and put hashtag Talking Dogs with Ante. So during the interview, more people can join. And obviously, after the interview, I will be very happy to share your stories. The person that I'm interviewing tonight is somebody who is absolutely well known in the world of dogs, well known as a veterinarian, well known as a judge, but she has done amazing success with her dogs during the last few decades, and I'm sure that there is going to be a lot of questions and a lot of comments, and that we are all going to watch this with a great interest, because I'm sure that my guest tonight is somebody who can tell us a lot of interesting stories about her dogs, about her breeding, and about everything that she has done in the last years. So, good evening, Ludovica. Welcome to Talking Dogs with Ante. How are you?
Thank you, Ante, for inviting me, and thank you, Soposh. And I'm very happy to be here with you this evening.
We are also happy to be with you, and I'm sure that that you will also be happy to hear that there are already 140 people watching live, and there are already a lot of comments. Julie is writing the beginning of another Super Wednesday. Caroline Fry is saying, looking forward to this. Ludo is indeed an amazing breeder and dog person. Patricia Nemirovsky de Alcina saying hello all the way from Argentina. Donne and Bruce are watching from South Africa. Nicola Spencer saying another very welcome interview. Well done, Ante and team. Best wishes from the UK to Ludovica. People are watching from Italy, from Sweden, Desi Marfri from the USA, Karen from Israel. Valentina is saying, good evening, Ante and Ludo. This interview that I wanted so much to hear. Andrew Bray saying, good evening, everyone. This will be so interesting. People watching, Emma from Ireland. And then Sylvia Timmerman is saying, hi from one of her sons, Vito. So obviously there are a lot of people who know you, who are watching this. And as I told you before we started, Ludovica, I will try first of all to read some of the comments from the viewers from time to time. And of course, if anybody of you has any questions for Ludovica, I will be very, very happy to read them, and Ludovica will be very happy to answer to them. My first question, Ludovica, and I'm happy that you told me before the interview that you didn't have time to watch any of my interviews before, because that makes it much more interesting, because you don't know what kind of questions I ask, and I never send questions in advance. So I think this is going to be also interesting for you. My first question is always, what was your last show? When you are hoping to have your first show in 2021? And do you miss traveling? Do you miss judging? Do you miss showing? Or you are fine to be at home with your dogs?
So my last show was in end of September, a club show in Italy, and was very successful. I got best in show, so I was very happy. And just a club show. After Craft was the only one show I did last year, so very long.
Not a lot.
A lot without a show. Next show, I hope can be some club show. We have the important club show for Irish Wolf on the Federation Club Show, so it's every 2 years and it's really big, and it's a really big event in Czech Republic this year in July. And then after this, I hope to enter dogs in England, and
yes,
Craft should be in July, and we'll see if it's possible.
If it's possible,
of course,
yes.
We are very, very happy to start again because for many reasons. Reasons because we can see the other dogs, we can see all, and of course work with the other breeders. We can't see friends, of course. We can't travel. That is a nice thing. But it's more important for the young dogs. I think that when we meet and we go in a show with a young dog, you really understand if the dog is really something special or is just a good one. Many times you can't understand this at home. You understand when you have in a big show, when you have the other dogs close to yours, so you really can understand if your dog is outstanding or is just a good dog.
Yeah, this is something. Yeah, this is something that I always say. Of course, we all have some nice young dogs growing at home, and we have big expectations and we love the way they look like. But this is what you say: until you bring them really to the show and until you see how they react at the show, you are not sure if it's just a good dog or it's really something special. So, well, as you heard probably, and most of our viewers, just on Monday officially the European Dog Show in Slovenia was cancelled. Today we got the official information about the new dates for the European Dog Show in Budapest. They will try to do it on 29, 30 and 31 of December. So it looks like many of us will be celebrating New Year in Budapest, which is not such a bad thing because Budapest is definitely one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. But as you said, we will see what will be happening because with this crazy COVID, I think we can not know what will be happening. Anyhow, before I start with my questions, Ludovica, let me read a few more comments because we have already 54 comments in the first 10 minutes on the interview. And then if I don't read them now, we will lose them. So let me just catch on some of them. Aurora De Poli is saying hello to both of you. Would stay hours to listen to Ludovica. Magnus Hagstead is saying good evening from Stockholm. Elena is watching from Spain. Jenny from Geneva. Marco Lue is saying the great Ludo. Claire is watching from Australia. Angus from Scotland. Jurica from Croatia. Michael Canalizo watching from the USA. Francesca Boroni watching from Italy. Jean Collins Pittman saying can't wait to hear, lots of love. Let me see. Quentin Pellegrini saying the best Irish Wolfhound breeder. Sabine watching from Switzerland. Ellison Messenger saying hi Ludo from Ellison. Graham and Rico in Ireland. So a lot of your friends, Ludovica, are watching, and I'm happy about that. Let me see just if at this point we have any questions for the moment. Ellison is asking, is that Mr. Nilsson on your knee?
No, this is Ruby. Is a Norfolk Terrier.
Okay.
Nilsson is a Griffon.
Okay. It's great. Okay, so
he's a Norfolk Terrier.
Anna Sabo is saying, long live Queen Ludo. Missing you and Michele so much. Bite Ares Primavera saying, one of the very best breeders, always serious and smart. So happy to listen tonight. So a lot of people are watching Ludovica and a lot of important dog people, important judges and breeders as yourself. So it's always great to have this kind of conversation with this kind of audience. For the start, I want to ask you a little bit about your family background in dogs. I have found the information that it was actually your parents, Antonia and Harry Salamon, who started in who decided in 1974 to move to a small city outside of Milan, and they actually started to travel to UK, read about the Irish Wolfhound, and it was actually them who bought first Irish Wolfhounds. Tell me a little bit about your family, about your parents. How did their story with the Irish Wolfhound start?
So my parents in the 74 decided that the Wolfhound is the dog they like, and they brought the first one in Italy, and then they decided to start really breeding, and so they go at Craft and in the main English dog show, and decided to buy adult dogs, not puppies, because you really can see something and have really something good and something to start breeding. And so they started with the most important kennels from Arundel, from Sulamsted, mainly from this stock. And so my parents, especially my father, when he started doing something, he started greatly, not
Seriously.
so seriously, and really put a lot of effort in this one. So so I just when I was 5-6 years, I stay with the Wolfhound and I show them. And I remember there was not junior handling at that time. And my parents say that if I go in the ring so young, it's possible that the judge think that the dog is not good enough because it goes with the too young girl. And I like so much to handle the dogs, and I always want to go in the ring. And from the beginning, I really groom the dog. I walk the dogs from always doing like this. When
Like
I have
this.
just 5 minutes from the school, I was in the kennel and with the dogs, everything with them.
Yeah, that's nice. Tell me, in the 1976 first litter of your kennel, which is called the La Bassa Pavese, was born. I'm interested, where did the name of the kennel come from?
The name is just the country. The country Pavese is Pavia is the town South Milan, and Bassa Pavese is the low country, because it's a country of rice, country very flat. So that is like the flat land of Pavia. So Bassa Pavese is that one.
Okay. Tell me, I know you have been, as you said, involved in dogs and breeding of your parents since your early age, but you yourself, you started to breed in the early 80s. How did that start? How did you make plan with your parents who is going to do what?
I was very much involved in horses when I was a teenager. And when my important horse as an injury I was 17, and I like a lot to go during the weekend to go show jumping, and I like the competition. So just when I finish with the horses, I wanted to go every weekend in the show for the competition because I like competition. So I really started when I was 17, so around 85, really involved in dogs 100%.
Okay.
So that was my start.
And tell me, do you remember your first dog show?
No.
No.
Impossible.
Oh, yeah, that was probably when you were very young.
I remember in that years, I remember well Bellagio. I can remember well Firenze, who was to the Cascine. I remember the World Dog Show in Verona in the 81, 82. And I remember that in that time, I see for the first time a Gordon Setter. And I don't know what breed was that. And I was 10 years old, and I go back to my mother and say, I see such a marvelous breed. It was
So that
strange.
was the start.
It was black at 10. So it was funny because I still remember that dog because it was so nice, so elegant, and
Yeah,
so
they are very special. That's for sure. I want to ask you also. Your whole family. Your husband is also very much involved with the dogs. Did you meet your husband through the dogs, or you met him through some other things?
he is a friend of my brother, and he
Uh-huh.
see me in a dog magazine. And when he knows that my brother was my brother, he say, "I want to know your sister because I like her and I like the dogs." And he already had a Gordon Setter, so we start together to have the first Gordon together in the '93. And
So
when I
so
met
the
him, he has a pet, just a pet from Italy. And so in the '93, we was together, and he say, "I want to have only one dog, not breed Gordon Setter, and I want a dog for win the groups." So
so
okay.
you were very competitive from the beginning.
Yeah. And so no, he said that he wanted dog to win the groups,
Okay,
and
he
he
said.
was already involved in all the club in the three clubs in England. So there was no internet, and he has all the papers and all the magazine from the clubs, and he already knows what lines he likes. So when we go together in England for the first craft together in the '93, we bought our first two Gordons. Of course, I want to have two because he say, "I want to start with one." I say, "Oh, you can't have one. You can't have a each two." So we was very lucky because we started with really two important dogs. Both of them, the male win 3 World Dog Show, and the bitches win 2 World Dog Show. So we was very lucky with the first two, and so we started together with the Gordon set.
So actually, the Gordons came from the husband, and the Irish
Yes,
Wolfhound from the parents.
yes.
Okay.
And the
Now I
funny
have the
thing
whole
is,
story.
I'm not the breeder officially. I'm not the breeder for Bassa Pavese, and I'm not the breeder for Ludstar. So Bassa
Ah,
Pavese is my mother, and Ludstar is my husband.
so you are just like a handler. So I hope
I
that.
join both ethics, but I'm not the first name.
But maybe that's better because you have made so much success for them, you can ask them money for handling, for grooming, for everything, because you are like a front line of both kennels. So I think that's nice. I want to ask you, Ludovica. Obviously, we are going to talk both about Irish Wolfhounds and about Gordon Setters. You have been extremely successful with the Irish Wolfhounds. Everybody knows this. At the world shows, European shows. Um, Big specialties, but also at crafts, which obviously you and many other people consider to be a huge success, especially because one is Irish breed, the other one is British breed. Um, I want to ask you, talking about Irish Wolfhounds, you have done something very big at crafts in 2017. Tell me about that.
Yeah, in 2017, I got best dog and best bitch, and it happened only one time in the history of the breed with Florence Nagel, and Florence Nagel is the top breeder, will be the top breeder for forever, because she really had super dogs who could be successful also today. And she won best in show at craft in '66, I think like something like this. But she was involved in Irish Wolfhound from the 30 to the 82, 83. So I met her. I was very happy to. I have a picture with her that I was handling, and I was 10 years old, and she was judging that show.
Nice. So it was only two persons who has managed to win dog CC and bitch CC at crafts in your breed.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, That's a nice record. And then talking about
this is Anna told me, but I didn't do this. Look at these records. It's
okay.
always Anna who look at this.
So if it's wrong, we will blame to Anna.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. And talking about records and about things that you have achieved with the Irish Wolfhounds. Also, I know that you are the first breeder outside of Ireland and UK who bred UK champion, the first one to do that.
Yes.
Which
same
year?
With the Irish Wolfhound and the same Gordons. Yes.
Okay. With which dogs and which years it has happened?
With Charisma, 3 years ago. So 3 years ago she got the title. And many times I have many dogs with 2 tickets, but it's always so difficult for one reason or another reason to arrive to the 3rd ticket. So, England is very difficult. There is a lot of competition. Every show is a big competition. And so is really, and the high quality of dogs is so difficult for us. And it's such a long trip every time.
Of course. Well, we know that Irish Wolfhounds probably are not the easiest dogs to travel with, for a difference of a Chihuahua or something like this. Okay, I will continue with my questions, but not to lose. We have 2 questions from the viewers. Andrea Haider is saying, I can feel a big difference in my dogs, missing to meet other and strange people, especially the younger dogs. Dog shows are an important part of socializing because I meet lots of dog people who know how to contact a strange dog and breed. How do you feel about that situation now? I think this is what we were talking about.
No, I don't understand the question. I didn't understand the question.
She was asking in general what we were talking, how important you feel is the socialization for the dogs at the dog show, not only at home and in the city, but to bring the young dogs to the dog show. How important is that for the dogs?
I'm not a very social. I'm not a very social person. So
okay.
I know this. So I don't. I speak with people that I already know.
But she was not asking about you. She was asking what we were talking in the beginning about the young dogs. How important is to bring young dogs to the dog shows? Because obviously now
it's very important. It's really very
now
important.
Obviously we had one year without dog shows.
In my breed, especially with such a big breed who can sleep on the flat, the sleepy floor, so it's very important that they don't go inside the first times. I think that the big breeds need to go in a club show outside for the first shows. So a club, something like a club show, and go inside only when they are more fixed in temperament. So I don't go in many shows, but only in the big one. But I wanted that the puppy goes first times in the Raduno and in the club show for the beginning.
Yeah. Anna Sabo, that we were talking about her, she's asking, Ante asked Ludovica about the trip when her Irish Wolfhound flew home from the UK with Matilde.
No, that's not nice, please.
So
I had a picture, but I couldn't. Charisma got the last ticket. She stayed in England to a friend for a weekend. But because I just come back from England and Anna handled her and got the 3rd ticket, I needed to go back in England to pick her because I don't want that she stay more than 2 or 3 days without me. So it was not easy. And because I just come back from England and these 2,500 kilometers is not. So I use my daughter who is blind and she used the dog, and we come back with the EasyJet, who is completely, no dogs can go with EasyJet.
Yes, I know.
So I have a picture with the Irish Wolfhound sitting in EasyJet seat with me and my daughter. I say terrible.
Well, okay. Important that you found the solution.
was really funny. And the funny thing is that I go inside and I didn't know how an Irish Wolfhound behave in the airplane, but she behaved very well. She go on the steps very easily, and I say okay. And the EasyJet has little flights, so also the steps are very small and very narrow. So I go to the plane and they say, but you didn't say that the dog was so big and we need to have another seat for the dog. Fortunately, it was 3-seat free, and we put the dog there. And when the plane start, after 10 minutes, everybody wants to do a selfie with my dog. So all people from the plane arrived to do a selfie with the dog in the plane, because they've never seen such a big dog on the plane.
I can imagine that. I think, yeah, I think it must have been a big surprise for everybody to see an Irish Wolfhound up there. Yeah. Okay, important that you had a solution how to solve it. We said, I mean, obviously you said it is not easy to travel and so on with the Irish Wolfhounds because they're such a big breed, but also to have them at home. It's not easy to have so many big dogs. How does a normal day for you at home look like? Do you have all the dogs together? Where they live? How much of exercise they need per day?
So I have not a kennel because the Irish Wolfhound is not a dog who can live in the kennel. So they live all free in the garden. I've just a fence to divide the two groups, especially when I have 3 males. 2 males generally are good together, but 3 males is start to be complicated. And they are very good together in the house, and they are very good together in the field. So I go in the morning, I work till 2, 3, 4. So in the afternoon, I can walk with my dogs, and I go out in the field with all the dogs every day. It's a good thing because I need to cross a road, so I put the leads on all dogs. And is a good thing. They like the leads because when they see the lead, they know they go walking.
For a walk.
So they put the lead on. I just cross the road, and after 20 meters, I can leave them free. And I walk for 1 hour every day with all the dogs together. At home, I have something like from 6 to 8 dogs, and they are very good with me, and I can manage with all of them alone.
And then how they go with other breeds? With
Gordon. Very well. If they are free in the country and they see another dog, because there are other dogs. I live in a village, and there are people who walk their own dogs. So you can find everything. You can find from the Maltese to the German Shepherd, who is not good, and they run because all the sight hounds want to see what happened around. So they walk close to me. If they see somebody 100 meters on the other side of the field, they run. So you can see from 7 to 10 dogs all together run against you. But then
and you have a heart attack.
Yeah, heart attack. At the beginning, people start crying, "Help me! What are you doing?" Something like this. Then the dogs arrive till 5 meters from this person, even if the dog is barking, the dog is doing something, and then they come back. They only want to watch what is this one, what is this person who is moving, or this dog. But when they see that it is a person or is a dog, even if the dog is aggressive, they come back.
That's nice.
The problem is sometimes if people leave the dogs free, my dogs are all free. But if other people leave the dog free, if the dog start running, they want to run again. They don't bite, but they run.
Yeah, so, they run after it. Yes.
Other dogs are not happy. But
I can imagine.
Anyway, they're really good. And I can go also out in the field with the horse. And in that case, they are very, very good. I can manage to put the lead from the horse to cross the roads. And they are free with me. and really free because I'm on the horse and it's not so easy to catch them on with the lead, but they are really very, very easy. With the horse, I don't use to have more than 2 or 3 dogs because I want to keep on under control.
Yeah.
But they are really under control, especially if they are with the horse. They are very, very close to the horse, and they don't chase. They stay very, very close to me.
Oh, that's nice. Tell me, I want to ask you. This is one of the questions that I always ask to my guests. If you would need to explain to somebody who wants, let's say, to become a new judge for Irish Wolfhound, what are, in your opinion, the most important features of the breed, or let's say, how in your eyes, a perfect Irish Wolfhound should look like? What would you say are the most important things for the correct breed type?
I think that first of all, you need to remember that it's a sight hound. So if you have the shape in your eyes, the shape of the whippet, the shape of the greyhound, the shape of the deerhound, you need always to think that the wolfhound needs to have the same shape, especially in the movement. So it's not a Great Dane with the flat top line, square dog. Is a dog very, very smooth with many curves, but of course, compared to the other sight hounds, is the substance is the difference. So the substance like a big dog, like a Great Dane, but the shape like a sight hound, and that's, I think, is the most important thing. And the first point I look when I breed is the shoulder. I think the shoulder is the first point, and all the dog is around a good shoulder. If you have a good shoulder, you have a good dog.
I think you should do a DNA test and check that maybe you're not a full sister of Javier, because Javier, when we look the puppies or adult dogs, he goes the first thing to the shoulders, and if the shoulders are not on the correct place, he doesn't look anything anymore. We fight quite a lot about that. Okay. Another thing that I want to ask you is, of course, you are showing a lot in different countries, and you are also judging them at specialties and so on. What would you say that in general at the moment is the biggest problem of the breed?
I think the biggest problem, there are 2 big problems, 3, I can say. First is short legs. Because people would like to see a long stride in front, and many times long stride, short legs, and kicking behind. So this is the typical show dog who is only for show and is not for the type. So short legs, straight front, and too much angulated behind with kicking behind. This is the typical not correct dogging type. And the coat is very important. I hate the shaggy coat, the soft coat. The coat of the Wolfhound needs to be really hard, even if they have not a lot of bear or people likes to see dogs with a lot of beer, a lot of furniture in the mouth, in the head. The Wolfhound is not like this. It's not a teddy bear. It's not a funny dog. It's a dog for working. Is the dog who need really to have a good coat, not a lot of bear and a lot of coat to see.
Yeah, because usually, sorry to interrupt you, usually also by the terriers and let's say schnauzers, if you have a lot of coat, that means that the coat is not really the best quality.
Exactly.
So one thing goes with another, yes.
Exactly.
Okay, and what would be the third big problem?
Is the shoulder and all the chest. Many dogs have straight shoulder and very narrow chest, not enough front and not enough long chest. So short chest with the long loin is another big fault.
You mean short rib cage?
Short rib cage, exactly, yeah. With the long loin.
Yeah, okay.
So that's another big problem.
Yeah.
Because with the long loin, you can see the dog who is looks more sight-hound, because they think that is narrow in the loin, looking from the side, but it's not to have a good under and top line. You need chest. You don't need to have longer loin and weak loin, so the dog looks with curves. The curves, you have curves because you have the chest, not you have curves because you have a weak loin.
Okay, so they should have a long rib cage and a short loin.
Exactly.
Okay. I want to ask you, especially because it is a very big breed, and we know that in general big breeds don't live as long as the smaller breeds. I want to ask you how healthy are the Irish Wolfhounds as the breed, and what kind of tests do you do for your own dogs? And then if we can connect on that, there was a question. Let me find it 1 second, from Ian Morrell, who is saying, what are the latest scientific studies in introducing healthier DNA into the Irish Wolfhound breed? So let's talk about healthy.
In the breed, there are two big problems: is the heart and is the bone cancer. So of course both are genetical. So you need to check the heart every year, or at least every time you breed your dog. So every time you breed a bitch, you test. So if you breed a bitch every 2 years, at least you check before breeding again. And that's very important, and many times start with atrial fibrillation, and every few months could happen the dilatation of heart, so the DCM. And the bone cancer could happen in every time, young dogs or a bit older dogs, and is another genetical problem. Then there could be the bloat, but not so often like in other breeds. In the Irish setter is more often than in Irish Wolfhound, perhaps, and is not such a big breed. But generally they have not long life. So around 7-8 years old, every kind of generally different tumors, but so different that it's not so easy to select, because there is not a genetic test, because it's not one tumor. There is the bone cancer, who is the first one, but there are also many other tumors, and you can't select one of these. You can select long life dogs generally. So if it's possible, if you have a long life dog, also a bitch who is 5-6 years, even if has not had a litter before, you can say, okay, now I use, because I know that till this age she is very healthy. So even if it's the first time you bred her at 5, is a good thing, because you know that all the health tests are okay. Because it's not health test that you do like the hip dysplasia that you do 1 year old and then is good for the life.
Yes, forever, yeah.
Is test that you can see month for month, not day for day.
Yeah.
So the good thing is to manage to use dogs who has had their own a long life. You can also use with frozen semen. Because if you have dogs, males, who had a long life and you frozen the semen before, you can use because they have had long life.
Tell me, Ludovica, just to interrupt you, sorry, what do you consider to be a long life in Irish Wolfhound?
It's not a lot. Long life is 10 years old.
10.
So 10 years old is a good life for a Wolfhound. Of course, you can have dogs who arrive to 12 or 14, but it's really an exception. So 10 years old is a good life for a Wolfhound.
Okay. And going back to the question of Ian, I suppose you will know exactly what he's asking. He asked, what are the latest scientific studies in introducing healthier DNA into the Irish Wolfhound breed? I don't know what exactly he wants to know, but I suppose you know.
No, I don't understand what he wants, but there are many tests, but no test for the important. There are tests for strange and stupid because are very rare problem that they find in 1 liter one time, but not a problem for the breed. So they find really rare problems, and they find the DNA test. But for the big problems, there is not a DNA test available now. They are working a lot for the bone cancer, and they are working a lot for the DCM, but is not yet available. So
okay,
now
let's
it's all found. You check the heart is the most important thing. The hip dysplasia is quite is not a problem. Really rare occasion, and the elbow dysplasia is more often. So I think that the elbow check is a good thing to do, and the high test is good to do. And the high test for the wolfhound you can do any age. It's not a 1 year old or a 7 year old. You can do, because the problem that they have in the eyes you can see from when they are puppies. So it's good that you can check the puppies one time for the life.
Okay, that's good. My last question about Irish Wolfhounds for the moment is if you would have the possibility to change something in the FCI breed standard of the breed, would you change something?
It's not a change. I think is something written not well. So is written that they say for the size, for in the history of the breed, everywhere is written that there is only the minimum size, and that's okay. But in the breed standard of FCI, instead of written only minimum size, they say something like the best size, something like this, and they write a size who is really minimal, is something like 81 for a bitch. The perfect bitch is 81, and if you see a bitch 81, you say, oh, what is that miniature? So a normal bitch is around 83, 84, and is a lot 2 or 3 centimeters in that. And for the males, they write something like 85, 84, 85, and a dog's a good male is at least 88, 89. So I don't know why they write something like this. Somebody say that they would like to write that is the minimum desirable, is not the desirable, because there is written minimum 75, desirable 81, but is desirable minimum or desirable? That's a stupid thing, but they need to write that is minimum desirable, not desirable. Like that. So this is the only thing. All the rest in the FCI standard is exactly how it was in all the standard, and is a good thing that everywhere in the world the standard is quite the same, no difference, and the type of the dogs is the same.
That's good.
Like in the terrier, you can't find an American type or an English type or a European type. There is the type, and stop it.
That's obviously much more easy when you breed and everything, that you can bring the dogs or the semen from anywhere in the world, and you are sure that you are going to breed the correct type. Anyhow, Ian has answered. Thank you for your answer. So obviously we have understood well what was his question. And Filippo Marotta is saying, second interview of Ludovica in a few weeks, and it's really worth of listening every single word she says. So you see, you have already people who are fans who are following you, and I'm happy that we have around 200 people watching it live, and we have already 92 comments. So I hope that when you will have time, you will go over all these comments, because obviously I'm not reading all of them. But it's a lot of people saying hello to you from all around the world, and I see on my phone that people are publishing their Instagram stories and tagging me. Thank you for that. Continue doing it. I always like to see after the show how many of you were watching it. Now we are going, Ludovica, a little bit to Gordon setters. As I told you, on your website, I have found a lot of information about Irish Wolfhounds, but I didn't manage to find almost any information about Gordon setters. But now, in the first part of the interview, you have explained that actually they have come in the family with your husband. Tell us a little bit about the start of your journey with Gordon setters.
So we started at the beginning with the English line, poor English lines. Then we decided to move and to have a bit of Australian blood. We like the Australian blood because it's as the fleshy of the American type, but is the type of the English type, and the health was much better, especially for the hips. So the hips, when there was only the English type, pure English type in the 25, 30 years ago, the hips was a big problem in the breed. Now with these lines, the hips are not a problem at all because the hip score is going really down. So we started using just a drop of Australian blood because we want really to fix our idea on the type of the dog, and of course not of the fleshy dog, not of the poor show dog. We was very successful because we got more than 15 or 20 best of breed at the World Dog Show in these years, and we had something like 7-8 times best of breed at Craft from the 2003 when started open the border. And so we got few English champions bred by us and coming and going back. And we have 2 males who now are the number 2 and number 3 in the history of the breed. So they have 42 tickets. And so we really
you did a good job.
Yeah. Is of course, is a dog who needs a lot of work in the coat. If you want to have a show dog, we start working with them in the field from the beginning. From they are really small, but when they arrive to 18 months, 2 years old, we needed to stop because of the coat. So, or you decide to have show dogs or a field trial dog. They can hunt. They are not field trial dog, of course, but they can hunt. They can hunt very well. They do their job, but they are not keep the coat, especially in our area, because in England the grass is much better, and the dogs when they come back from the field are quite clean. Just sometimes the mud, but not terrible. Here the grass is really terrible. They come back from the field, or it's impossible to keep the coat. So, and of course, like all the field trial breeds, the type is completely different. The type for show dog and field trial dogs.
Of course.
It's too different.
And tell me, you have also explained in the beginning, because that was one of the things that was not clear in my head. Why would you have 2 breeds under 2 different prefixes? But then you explained that the Labassa Pavese came from your parents and the Ludstar came from your husband. Where did the Ludstar kennel name come from?
My name is Ludovica. So Lud star for Ludovica, and Star is our first bitch. So our first bitch was a Lyric Star is Born. So Lud Star is the mix between me and first bitch.
Okay, nice. Tell me, I have asked you the same question about the Irish Wolfhound. If you would need to explain to somebody what are the most important characteristics of the Gordon Setter for the correct breed type, what would you say?
A square dog, but square dog doesn't mean the dog who stay in the square like we say in Europe. A square dog for British is a dog very wide. So not a narrow dog. It's like because in the breed standard they speak about hunter horses. So an hunting horse hunting sport horse is a horse who is really strong compared to the thoroughbred. So if the Irish setter is the thoroughbred, the Gordon setter is the Irish sport horse. Is a square dog. It means that is wide on the ground. So this is the first thing, is the difference between the Gordon and the other two setters. So it's very important because especially in the show dogs, many times you see dogs, we call them Facebook dogs. It's okay only on the picture on Facebook. But when you see in front, they are half size. So you can only see the coat, you can see the shape, but at the end you have no substance. So it's another dog with a lot of substance, a lot of very strong dogs. And in the same time, is very important the head, who need to be strong, but without too much skin. The other problem is that because they want to have big lips, big muzzle, they have a lot of trotty dogs, and it's not correct. The dog needs to have lips very clean and not trotty, because when you see a dog with the trotty, without the lead, of course, because with the lead you can
fix it a bit, yes.
Yes, fix it a bit, but you really can see a different expression, totally different. It's not, because it's an hunting dog, needs to be not too much skin. It doesn't need for anything. So it's only skin, and it's not nothing good for the breed, nothing good for the type, and not good for hunting. So it's not correct.
Okay, and talking about this, the same what I asked you before. What would you say at the moment is the biggest problem of the breed?
Too much American influence. So flat dogs in the rib, so the rib very flat on the side. The tail too long, carry too high, and the skin, really a lot of skin, and also the coat. The American dogs, many dogs has the tan is not tan, is very yellow with a lot of black in the tan. So you lost completely the expression and the type of the Gordon Setter in that kind of dogs.
Okay. Are the Gordons a little bit living a little bit longer? Are they more healthy? What kind of health problems they have or they don't have?
Gordon Setter doesn't see the vet for 50, 40 years.
Okay.
Never one time in their life. So the Gordon Setter, you check the hips and the elbows, but it's not a big problem in the breed. You check the eyes, but they have only one peer A who is very late arriving, so it's not a big problem even if they are affected. But of course, you have the DNA test and you can avoid the affected dog. And for the rest, they are very, very, very healthy. They are not long life. So in the Irish Setter, you have dogs who arrive 16, 17, 18 years old. In the Gordon Setter, 12, 14 is the top, generally. But till that age, they arrive really healthy. So you can show the dogs in veteran class, but veteran, very veteran, not veteran 7 years, veteran. We got one best of breed at Craft with the veteran, but 8 years old is not a veteran. The dog I got best of breed this year at Craft was 8 and is still in top condition. So you have dogs in top condition till 10 years old. You really can't see the age. So they arrive till the end very healthy, and they are very, very hyperactive.
Yeah.
So till the end, they don't lose their activity, their energy, their joy of life.
Okay, and tell me about the FCI standard of the Gordon Setters. If you would have the possibility, would you like to change something, or you find it all okay?
No, it's all okay. It's a good standard and is a very nice description. And but also the American standard is a bit different, but is a good standard. Is the dogs who is different from the standard? It's not the standard is okay. Of course, also in US there are many good dogs, but there are fleshy dogs that some people likes in the rest of the world, and they more extreme and not so much in type. Of course, you can find everywhere dog who is not in type, but the American dogs are more fleshy and more for the ring, but not really the type we follow, who is the correct English type.
That's interesting what you say, because many people, when I talk to them about breeds that look different in Europe and in the USA, they say it's very strange because in general the standard for the breed in the USA is also okay. It's not much different, but the dogs, they look completely different. So okay,
exactly.
So it's interesting that also in the Gordons is like that. I want to ask you one more thing. When you compare the Irish Wolfhounds of today, and when you compare the Gordon setters of today with the ones that you and your parents started with, do you think that both breeds are going in a good direction, or they are not going in a good direction?
In the Wolfhound, I think that in the 70 and the early 80, there was really fantastic dogs. Then in the 90, the dogs, especially in Europe, was more too much angulated behind and very short legs. Now this problem is going back to be not such a big problem. So many judges prefer long legs dogs and correct angulation and not too much. So this, I think, was just a problem in Europe and in the Wolfhound and in the 90s. Now is going back to have more balanced dogs. The Gordon Setter is completely different. I think that before the 70, what we can see from the picture, the dogs was not so was typical old type dogs, more similar to what we can find in the old pictures. So more similar to a field trial dog, but not a field trial, full field trial, but a hunting dog, not field trial. Field trial dog is completely different, but an hunting dog. In the 70 and the 80, you really could see in England very fantastic dogs with really super type. But because England is just an island, the genetic pool was too poor at the end because it's not a big breed. And of course, only English dogs they used together, no artificial insemination, and was very difficult to introduce new dogs. So they start to have too much problems in the hips, especially in the hips in the 90. But the type was really correct. But the hindquarters was very weak, and especially the hip score. In the 2000, start with the new blood because they opened the border. And so with the new blood, with the new bigger gene pool in the breed, the health, especially the health of the hips, improve a lot. The dogs has a better hindquarters, but of course goes to a bit different type, more American and fleshy type, also in England. But the good thing is that in England, the English judges can see the correct type of dogs, so it's easy that the correct type will win till now. So that's why, because we prefer to show in England the Gordon Setter than in Europe. In England, the English judges are more concentrated to the correct type, of course, with good movement and good cut. So
yeah, I wanted to ask you now when you are talking, I don't know if that has happened with the Gordons, but let's talk about some maybe 10, 15 years ago. For example, English setters have been very, very popular in Italy, but they had more or less, let's call it Italian type of dogs, which were smaller, always with the tails down. And I mean, they have been winning a lot. Did that happen also with the Gordons in Italy?
No, fortunately not. Fortunately not, because the Gordon in Italy is not so, of course, not so common as the English setter. English setter is 20, arrived to 20,000 every year born, and Gordon is 500. So fortunately, the Gordon setter is always a good hunting dog, but sometimes in Italy they prefer the biggest head. More big is, better it is. So of course sometimes you can see two heavy heads, but at least is typey heads. But in the English setter is completely different, because they use the field trial type, became the show type. In the show they show dogs more for field trials, so different sizes, especially.
I want to ask you a last question before we start with my quick questions, and that is something that is going to be a little bit more difficult for you, as it is for all my guests. I know you have Irish Wolfhounds. I know you have Gordons. Now I see that you have also a Norfolk. Do you have any other breeds at home at the moment?
I have a Whippet. I always had, my first dog was a Whippet. Piero Renai was an old Italian breeder. Give me my first dog when I was 6 years old, and was a black Whippet. And in my family, there always been one Whippet, at least one. Now we have three.
But you never breed them?
Not, my mother started breed them in the 80s, but then she decided only to have just for her 1 or 2 Whippets. So we always had a Whippet, and now we have a Norfolk Terrier. My mother has a Norwich, so we started with this one, and is from England, from Martin Phillips. And we have a Griffon. This is a puppy wolfhound. You can see. Just
how old? How old?
This is 3 months old.
Okay, already a big boy or a girl?
Yes, he's a big boy. Coffee, say hello.
So Griffon.
Now we have the Griffon, the Norfolk Terrier, and the Whippet is the 3 small breeds that we have at home.
Okay. Before I start with my quick questions, I have few questions from the viewers. I don't know about which breed this is, but maybe if I read you the name of the person, maybe you will know about which breed she's talking. It's Paula Colmegna. She's saying, thank you for this interview. Interesting to listen to this fantastic breeder. I would like to ask Ludovica, which is the dog of her breeding that she considers to be key in importance to her breeding program? I suppose it's about Wolfhounds, but I'm not sure.
Yes, it's Wolfhound. I have had important males, like one like Donneral was one of my best dogs, especially like a sire, a good sire. But I have had other dogs like Aragon, who is the biggest dog. So it was not so nice in the ring because it was quite too big, but it's good to have a good size in the breed. So there are dogs for the show, for the ring, you prefer one dog, but then for breeding is not the dog correct for every beaches, of course. So for every beach you need to choose the correct male, and there is not one male who is the perfect one.
Perhaps
there is the best one in the ring, but is not the best one for breeding. Not with all beaches, of course.
We have another question, and I'm going to have one question similar to that in my quick questions, but okay, you can answer it also. Before it's from Alison Messenger. She's asking, what wolfhound do you consider is the best you have bred, and which wolfhound not bred by you would you have liked to have bred or owned?
There are many dogs who I like and I would like to have bred. Perhaps the best one was Stony Brook Beach, who named Jeopardy. Stony Brook Jeopardy, I think, was really the best wolfhound I have ever seen. And the best dog I had, I think, could be Charisma. Charisma is really in my heart.
Yeah. Okay, Barbara Gruzzi is saying, Ludovica, is always a pleasure to listen, and so true. Ian is saying, what would you consider adding or changing to the UK Irish Wolfhound standard?
Nothing.
Nothing. It's okay.
I needed to change the standard. You needed to change the dogs at least.
No. Because we were talking that in the FCI standard, for example, you would like to change this explanation of the size.
Yeah, because in the FCI standard they try to. I think they think that what they want to see is that the minimum desirable size is that one, and so it's a misunderstanding. But there is nothing. Is the same as the English standard. The only difference from the English standard and the FCI is this think about the size, and nothing more. Perhaps the full dentition, but nothing different.
Okay. Let me see what more Hans Slegers was commenting on what we were talking. He says the English setters in Italy has even their own standard promoted by many Italian setter judges, even when this standard is very different from the FCI standard. Yes, obviously
I think that the FCI standard is the only one standard. Is not you can't say because we have a lot of dogs, we have the number, we can change the standard. The standard,
of course. Yes. Anyhow, okay. Now we are going with the quick questions. Before that, let me say that Anastasia Goncharova is saying very interesting to listen, especially about Gordons. Thank you so much. And Reta van den Walt is saying, thank you for a very informative session. Your wealth of knowledge is inspiring. So I'm happy that a lot of people are watching and they are enjoying this interview. Okay, so here are the quick questions that are usually very difficult for people to answer. And because you have not listened to any of my interviews before, you are not prepared to them. So let's see how you are going to deal with them. Which show you judged till now you consider to be the highlight of your judging career?
I will judge this year the War Dog Show, so I hope this will be the highest. But in the Irish Wolfhound, of course, in England, when you give the CC is always very, very exciting. And in US, the best one was not a show with the ticket. It was a match in Locust Grove, who is very, very famous for our breed. It was a private show. And it was very nice because it was a private show in the house of Gretchen Bernardi. And so it was really nice because really the top wolfhound, the top breeders goes there. Quite only with young dogs, no, with no champions. So especially with young dogs, it was so exciting. More than 100 young dogs, and it was really exciting.
Yeah, that's nice.
The Gordon of course, in England, is always the top.
Yeah. Tell me, what would be your favorite Italian all-breed show?
In the past, it was Bellagio, of course. And now in Subria. In Subria is the best one.
Okay. The favorite Irish Wolfhound and the favorite Gordon setter of all times, not bred or owned by you. You said, I suppose, for the Wolfhounds, this bitch Jeopardy, I think it was her name.
Jeopardy for the Wolfhound. And for the Gordon setter, not an easy. High Society, Lyric High Society.
Okay. The best dog you ever bred
The
from both
Gordon Setter.
from both breeds together.
Oh, from both breeds.
Yes.
So you have many dogs where you leave a bit of your heart. So there is not one dog. In the Gordon Setter, we have 2-3 dogs really. Resolute was another UK champion and won Craft 2 times. Tamburello won Craft 2 times, best of breed. In the Gordon Setter, and now we have Freddie who won 3 times Craft. So
Yeah,
we
not
have
easy.
had many good males, especially in the Gordons. We have many good males. We concentrate more on the males because it's more difficult and more challenge.
Yeah.
For the Irish Wolfhound, I think Donneral and Kingara.
Okay. The favorite win with your own dogs.
The favorite?
Win. One something that you have won with your own dogs that you will never forget.
Of course, Craft. More than World Dog Show.
Okay.
Yeah, Craft.
Is there one Craft that is specially in your memory, because you have had a lot of success at Crafts?
Of course, the first the first we won was the most special. It was in the 2003, and it was with Tamburello, with the Gordon Setter, and it was really special, really something. Okay. The first time in the green carpet in the best in the group is really something special.
Yeah, it is. One breed you never had at home and you would like to have?
That I don't want to have?
No. One breed that you never had, but you would like to have.
Perhaps a deerhound.
Okay, yeah, that is quite understandable. Okay, one dog person who is not alive anymore and you terribly miss.
Kuka. Kuka, so me, is a really special person.
Okay. If you would need to think about one breeder of any breed from who always impress you with the quality of his dogs, which breeder would you say? One from Italy and one from the rest of the world.
A top breeder?
Yes, of any breed. Somebody who always amazes you with the quality of his dogs. One breeder of any breed from Italy and one from the rest of the world. I told you that quick questions are not easy.
Italy is a country where there are many good breeders.
Everybody say that.
Many. The one is the Maltese Cinecittà is I think is one of the breeder who really has always top dogs. When you put the hands on, is really particular dogs. And Bitte for the sight hounds, Bitte Arens, and
from the rest of the world.
From the rest of the world, in England there are many good breeders. Of course, I look more for breed that I know better. So Dial and Spevin, the Spevin for the Beagle is one of the biggest. You always see very nice dogs and high quality dogs from their kennel. And
okay, that will be enough. Okay. Can we try to imagine one thing? There is a World Dog Show in Italy, and you are not judging but showing, and you have a very special dog to show. Under which Italian judge you would like to win Best in Show?
But is no more judging today, but Paolo Dondina, of course.
Okay, Paolo, I'm sure he's watching. He will be happy to hear. Let's ask another question. You have 3 litters at home, and you need to choose one puppy out of these 3 litters. Which 3 judges from anywhere in the world you would invite to help you to choose the best puppy?
Difficult.
I told you that questions are not easy.
So for what breed?
Doesn't matter.
No.
Three judges. Okay, if you want, you can say for both breeds, if it makes a difference.
So for the Wolfhound, I will call. It's such a difficult question.
I always say to the people, I do only difficult questions. There are no easy questions
It's very difficult. So I will choose, I think, one really specialty judge like Chris Amo is a really special only for the breed. A sighthound judge would be a judge like Bitte, who has a different view for another breed, and a dog for a judge for another. Pietro Bottagisio could be the judge for who has no sighthounds.
Okay,
so this
wonderful.
is for the sighthounds. For the Gordon Setter, for the breed, Esther Joseph, who is a all-round judge and a Gordon Setter judge. An English breeder could be Francis Boxall or Maureen Justice. And for like a all-round or a different breed judge, perhaps not a judge, another breeder.
Okay.
Because the Gordon Setter is more for breeders. So another breeder of setter who can really see something also like could be a breeder like Alenka or like Barbara Gruzzi, who has another setter but has a good eye also for Gordon Setter.
Okay, wonderful. If you would need to thank to 5 people for your success in dogs, which 5 people you would thank?
So 2 different breeds, 2 different 5 and 5.
How you want. Okay.
For the Irish Wolfhound, the English breeders, Roger Tebbutt, Chris Amo, the 2 Bokra, the Bokra Kennel. In the US, Lynn Simon and Gretchen Bernardi. For the Gordon Setter, the English breeders, Maureen Justice and Francis Boxall, and Bonnie Skugel, who gave us our first dog, and Esther Joseph from Australia. We didn't arrive at 5, but
doesn't matter. That's okay. That's okay. Tell me, best dog you have ever judged of any breed, or one dog that you judged that you will never forget. You don't need to say the name. You don't need to say the name. You can say just at which show it was or on which occasion it was.
I think in the Irish Wolfhound, the dog of Chris Amo, the male, named
doesn't matter. You just say when did you judge it?
I judged it 2 years ago in South Wales, and he got best of breed and win the group or second in the group. Yes.
Okay, so they will know which one it is. Tell me one dog of any breed from anywhere in the world that has leave a especially big impact on you. One dog that you have seen of any breed in your life that you will never forget. Also, we don't need the name. You can say just the breed or...
many dogs in the Craft and War Dog show that you see and you really say that this is really fantastic, like the poodle at Craft, the giant poodle at Craft of Mike Gatsby was the white one, was really impressive. The Norfolk of Peter Green at Craft was another impressive dog.
Okay.
Caspian Intrepid, the Irish setter in the 90 was really an impressive dog.
Okay, super. If you were offered to judge 3 national specialties in the USA in the breeds of your choice, what would they be?
In what nation?
No. If you would be offered to judge 3 national specialties in the USA,
Yeah.
for which breeds you would like to judge?
Irish setter. I judge a lot of Irish setter, and I really enjoy judging Irish setter. And then Gordon setter, of course, and Irish Wolfhound.
Okay. Is there a young person that you recently met in the dog world that you think is going to be successful in the future in dogs?
James Newton, I think, is an English young handler.
Okay. If you would decide, for example, this year that you want to stop breeding dogs and you give away all your Gordon setters and all your Irish Wolfhounds, and in 5 years you want to start again, in which kennel you would go to buy the Irish Wolfhound, and to which kennel you would go to buy a Gordon setter?
Irish Wolfhound, I will go in another Wolfhound here.
I can see.
Irish Wolfhound, I will go. There are many, not one.
Okay, but where would you go to buy the first one?
Yes, I think to Chris Amu or Roger Tabut.
Yes. Okay, and the Gordon?
The Gordon, Maureen Justice. Again, Maureen Justice is the first where we go from the beginning, and they still
you
the
would
one
go again.
Would go now.
Okay, and here is the end to the difficult, quick questions. Are you a good loser or you are a bad loser?
It depends.
On what?
It depends against what person. If I lose in front of a big breeder, I'm a good loser. If I don't lose in front of good breeder, I'm a bad loser.
Okay. 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 So let me read you a few of the comments that we got in the meantime, and then I continue with my questions. These ones are not going to be so difficult. Olaf is saying, another great interview. Thanks for this great opportunity to listen and learn from first hand. Amanda Berwald Spencer saying, I got to show my black male Wolfhound Legion to you at Locust Grove. It was wonderful. Nina Lazareva saying, very interesting to listen. Thank you very much for the interview. Roxana Robit saying, so interesting and inspiring. Grazie, Ludovica. Let me see. Roberta Mauri saying, thanks for mentioning Bellagio. And then Joe Bayliss is asking you, how do you decide which dog will be into your breeder group? How do you train them to perform together? Because we know you are quite famous for showing breeder groups of Irish Wolfhounds.
Oh, the breeder group.
Yes,
how
which I suppose
the dogs for breeder group.
Yes, and how you train them.
I train because I go every day out with them, so I don't train them. When my most famous breeder group was in Milano, the World Dog Show, and I put these 5 dogs together 1 hour before.
Okay.
So because 4 of them live with me and 1 not, and I just tried 3-4. I enter many dogs in Milano, so I see what dogs can go together, can stay well together, for the color, for the size. Because if one dog is too high or too small, it was not good, not nice with the other one. So dogs the same size, possibly the same color, fortunately is same type, and
yes.
They go together because they know me very well, and I go out in the field every day with them. So I remember,
and I was just talking a few days ago with Anna about that. I remember when you were showing this breeders group in Milano, the crowd went absolutely crazy. And I think it was Giuseppe Alessandra judging, and you won the first place.
Yeah.
And that's I think something that many people will never forget. Anyhow, Ana Luce Saletti agrees with you about Bellagio Dog Show, and Pietro Bottagisio saying thank you, Ludovica, so because you have mentioned him, so he's happy about that. Let's talk, Ludovica, now a little bit about breeding. I'm interested, how do you choose which two dogs are going to be the parents of your next litter? Do you look how they look like? Do you look a lot about the pedigrees? How do you choose them?
Everything. So I look, of course, the pedigree, what they bring in their line, and to have something different. I go to another dog who bring as a strong point in what I need. So if I have a girl who is a long leg and very, very elegant, I don't go for an elegant male, because I think that if you put two dogs so similar, at the end you have something too much extreme. So if I have an elegant bitch, I would prefer a dog with a lot of substance, and the opposite. If I have a very strong bitch, I will choose a dog who give me something more refined, so more neck, more legs, something more. So to compensate in this way, especially in the Wolfhound, that is always up and down. You can have too much elegant, too much heavy. In the Gordon Setter is more the same kind of dogs. You bred similar dogs. In the Wolfhound, you bred dogs. Yeah.
He wants to kiss you all the time.
This is 10 months old puppy.
Yes.
It's not a puppy, but he's 10 months old. He's a young male.
Yeah, with the head over your head. So. Okay, I want to ask you, when you are doing the breeding in both of the breeds, how much do you use line breeding? How much do you like or you don't like to do outcrosses? And do you do sometimes close inbreeding?
No, I try to avoid close inbreeding. I work in line breeding, and even if on the papers looks like to use sometimes dogs who looks in outcross, is not an outcross. So it's an outcross if you see the 5th generation, but then if you see back, the dogs are from the same line and the same type. So I don't choose a dog different type or different line. Even if on the paper you think is an outcross, is not an outcross. I don't. I avoid outcross.
Okay, so you try generally speaking, you do it line breeding most of the time.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me, and obviously I'm asking you about both of the breeds, and you say if you do it in a different way. In which age and how do you choose the puppy, for example, that you are going to keep for yourself or that you are going to sell for a show family?
Well, at what age I start choosing for me?
Yes.
I was very lucky that my mother let me a lot to choose and do what I want to do. So when I was around 17 years old, I start choosing what I want, and my mother let me.
Yeah, but I'm asking with the puppies. At what age you choose the puppies?
At what age I choose the puppy, not me. At my age. No, at what age?
And how do you choose the best puppy of the litter?
So I choose a lot around 6-8 weeks. But I don't fix that at 8 weeks the dogs will keep the same shape and the same type so I continues looking at the puppy, and if at the last minute I change my choose, I change the choose. I don't say that if I see the dog nice at 6 and 8 weeks will remain the same. So when the puppies goes with something like 3 months and a half, 4 months, if they in that period I see something good or something good points or different good points, I choose something different. So okay. I don't fix my head only at the age of 6, 8, like somebody say.
And what do you look
my mind in the weeks.
And what do you look most in the puppies when you're choosing?
Shoulder.
Shoulder. Yeah,
Shoulder.
there we go. There we go.
So if I need to say one thing, it's shoulder.
Okay.
Then, of course, the balance is very important, that the dog is balanced.
Yeah, and probably temperament also.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But my dogs stay all at home, so I don't have dogs who I don't like the temperament, because they are lives in the house with me.
Look at him. I think I know the answer, but still I will ask you, which one of the two breeds is more difficult to breed and why?
Wolfhound. Wolfhound is more difficult because of many things, because they are too big to go to the show, too difficult for the health, for everything. The Gordon Setter is just because of the coat, the problem, but not for the dogs. Okay. Of course, the Wolfhound are more easy to keep in the pack in the house. The Gordon Setter are a bit too much hyperactive to keep free in the house, especially in the puppies. So the Wolfhound are more easy to breed, because easy to have around in the house, but more difficult to breed. The Gordon Setter is easier to breed, but more difficult to have free in the house, because they are a bit
special. Yeah. Tell me, because two breeds have completely different kind of coats, how much time, let's say, regularly during the week you need to spend on grooming the dogs? Irish Wolfhounds, how often do you trim them or strip them? And the Gordons, how often do you bath them? How difficult is to keep them in the show condition?
It's not difficult, but of course it's time. So the Wolfhound, I keep grooming them every week, just a bit, just 20 minutes or half an hour. 20 minutes is enough for 1 week. And I do also a lot when I watch television in front in the sitting room. So then they are caught everywhere, but especially the small one, I groom in front of the television. The Gordon Setter, a male need to be washed every week, and a female every 2-3 weeks. Okay. And the Gordon Setter, you need to groom every show. So if you have a show every week, you groom every week. Every show you need to groom. And the Irish Wolfhound, you need to keep the coat all the year.
And I'm asking because it's always interesting to hear with the people who have harsh coated breeds. How often do you bath Wolfhounds?
Just for the show.
Just for the show.
Yeah. Okay. But they go a lot field, and they go in the river very often. So it's not a bath, but they go in the river very often.
That's good. Okay, let's talk now, Ludovica, a little bit about your profession, about your work. You are the owner of this Clone Italy branch. What it is about this company? We were talking a little bit before the interview. Tell to the viewers what it is actually that your clinic does.
Yeah, Clone Italy is just a brand who work with particularly tow media to freeze the semen. So this is the particular of Clone Italy. And of course, when I start, I do a few weeks in US to learn all the steps. And is tow media for chill semen, so chilled semen, and for frozen semen. So chilled semen is the semen that you can ship and use within 3, 4, 5 days. So in Europe, we just share for Europe, of course, the same you share for US, but it's difficult to send the chilled semen in US and impossible to Australia.
Of course.
If you want to use a dog for many years or in the other side of the world, you need to have a frozen semen, because frozen semen lasts a lot, and so I use frozen semen. In my breeding, more than half of my litters are with frozen semen.
Okay, and you as you said, now you work a lot with chilled and frozen semen. This is something that, let's say, recently became quite popular among the breeders. How far did we come in this process of this? Is it getting better and better by the years? Are there more scientific solutions for this kind of breedings? I suppose in the last few years it has changed a lot, the
Yeah,
procedure
of
and
course.
everything.
I started in the 94 freezing semen. In that years was really the beginning, and but now many breeders breed with many. I have breeders who have here more than 20 dogs freeze, so they really use for the kennel and for the lines. Many important lines from all over the world, keeping in freezing and using on the correct beach. So I
Yeah,
think it's really a good thing for a breeder. Is not the same success in any breed. For the frozen semen as breeds was much more success than other breeds,
yeah,
and
I know.
nobody knows why, but it's like this.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you why, because we have done few of the breedings with frozen semen, and with some breeds we have never had any problems. But for example, with the Scottish, I have tried like 3 or 4 times, and we had perfect semen and perfect progesterone, and never got any puppies out of this. And to whoever I spoke, to any Scotty breeder, they always say it's almost impossible to get the puppies. So there must be a reason, but God knows what it is. Anyhow, we were talking a little bit before we started the interview, and I think it's interesting for the viewers. You two things that obviously are extremely interesting for many breeders in Europe are Russia. You said that it's extremely difficult to get the semen from Russia. That it is possible, but very difficult. And I wanted to ask you how difficult it will be now with Brexit to import the frozen semen from the UK.
Import semen from UK will not be a big problem, apart the invoice, of course, because it's out of European community. For the export from here to UK will be a big problem. Now we are looking just these days for the new rules, because in December we send all the semen we need to send before the Brexit, because we know that in January start the problems. And at the end, if they want the same as the dogs, so the blood test for rabies, will not be easy to send the chilled semen in US. So is more for frozen semen, but with a lot of blood test, same as you have in Australia, or same as you have in Russia. Is really complicated. So
Yeah,
many blood tests and many papers.
yeah. And you said Russia is possible, but very complicated, probably, as you mentioned, because of the paperwork.
The paperwork, yes. We sent the semen very recently, and our tank stay in the border for 10 days and take 3 months to come back. 3 months to come back for papers. Yeah. The problem of papers to coming back our tank. So is a nightmare. It's really a nightmare. It's not the paper that they ask, because they ask normal papers like Australia is a lot, but we know what to do and we do perfectly. But then they ask such when the semen was in the border, they ask such terrible things. They ask everything written in Russian, in Cyrillico. Mm-hmm. So say, sorry, we write in English. No, yes. We don't want in English. So you need to translate everything. Then they need to know how many pieces of papers there are in the tank. So really, only
impossible.
Papers.
Yeah. And tell me another thing. What I have asked you, because I was not sure about that, and I think it's interesting because many people nowadays already, and you said yourself, for their breeding programs, they use dogs that have died maybe 10 years, 20 years ago. Is it possible to do the genetic tests for the illnesses from the frozen semen of a dog from 20 years ago?
Yeah, from the semen you can have the DNA, and of course from the DNA you can have all the tests you can do with the DNA from the blood. So of course you need to throw away a part of semen, at least one straw, so at least half a dose. So if you have many doses for a male, you can lose one to do the test that you need.
Okay, okay, because I think that's something interesting for the people. Also, I want to ask you, because more and more people are doing this now, is there something special that people, if they want to freeze the semen of their male, is there some special procedure, something that they should follow, or it is just you bring a dog and you take it? How does it work? How difficult is to?
If the dog is young and is in good health, generally don't need anything. But if a dog is a bit older, is better if you give supply, at least supply at home, and then they come to collect the semen and see if the semen is good quality. And you can give some vitamins and something to improve the semen before collecting. Then, of course, when you collect the semen, if the quality is not good, you can improve, and you can see why it's not good and improve.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this possibility that we have, all of us have today, to use the dogs who died, let's say 20, 30 years ago. How important you think it is for the breeding, and how much is it going to change the picture of many breeds in the future? The possibility that, let's say, in 20 years we will.
It depends to the breed. So if you have some breeds who are completely different from 20 years ago to now, like a German Shepherd. If you speak with German Shepherd breeders, they say that you can't use a dog who in 20 years ago. Now is a loser dog. So there are breeds like Irish Wolfhound that there are many good dogs from the past that you could, if you have, you can use, and sometimes, like now in the Gordon Setter, you can use all the semen to come back to the correct type. That is really important. So I think that in some breeds is really nice. Some breeds change and are much different or much better today, and so you can't use semen of 20 years ago because it's a completely old type and not what you want now.
Want today.
So it depends to the breed.
Yeah. Tell me another thing. It's just a curiosity. I don't know how it is in all the European countries, but for example, in Croatia, in the last 2 or 3 years, they say if you want, you can use for the same mating semen from different males, and then when the puppies are born, you make the DNA and see which one is this starting to be popular.
Yeah, I think it's really nice, because if you have a really important bitch, of course you need to do with the top bred bitch. You can use 2 semen. Of course you need to do 2 semen similar quality. If you use a fresh semen and frozen semen, all the puppies come from fresh semen. Okay. But if you use 2 frozen semen in the same time, you can have a split litter, half from one side and half from another one. So you have more pool gene from the same bitch, who is really very nice. Is really a good thing for a breeder. Of course, a breed who has a good number of puppies. If you do in a Chihuahua with 3 puppies,
it has no sense.
What you have 1 and 1 is not a good thing. But if you do litters with 8, 10 puppies, and you have a split litter, 4 and 4, 5 and 5 from different sire, is 2 litters in one.
Yeah.
So it's
have you ever done it by yourself?
I have done one time, yes.
And how it was?
I had 5 and 1.
Okay.
So only one from the second start.
Okay. I have a few more questions, but before that, let me read you a few of the questions. Aurora De Poli is writing, I could stay literally for hours listening to Ludo, loved so much the trip we made together to Donaueschingen a few years ago. Having the opportunity to learn from such an iconic like her is priceless. Andrew Brace is saying, let me see, one of my most vivid memories of Ludo goes back many years to the day she and Michele arrived at my home to collect semen from my beagle, stud dog, for an Italian breeder. Everything was very well organized, but Mikey, the stud dog, was not anticipating the Gordon Setter Beach, who they had brought as a teaser. Never before have I seen such a look of surprise and confusion on a beagle's face. So, okay, it happens. Elisabetta Biribo is saying very, very interesting questions and answers. Patricia Nemirovsky saying all is very interesting. Joe Bell is saying interesting part about semen. Thanks for speaking about it. So thank you for sharing about that. Let me ask you now a few questions about judging. First of all, do you prefer showing or judging?
Showing.
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 Okay. Tell me, Ludovica, what do you consider to be the most important qualities of a good judge?
Good eye. So the first eye that you have on the dog, you need to have not on the details, but a really good eye on the old dog, and on the balance on the dog of the dog. Not judges who concentrate on the details. So it's very important that the judge
to see a whole picture
can see the picture of the dog.
Yeah. I want to ask you, and this is something that people answer in a different way. For example, for yourself, let's say Irish Wolfhounds, you know more or less everybody, you know all the breeders, you know all the people who are showing. Is it for you, for example, more difficult or more exciting, for example, to judge your breed on a big show, or you prefer, let's say, to judge Afghans or Greyhounds where you don't know all the people? What is more interesting for you?
Where I don't know the people. So it's good to judge a breed who is not yours, so you know anybody, or to judge in the other side of the world that you don't know anybody. So that's much better. It's not nice when you judge people that you know, or dogs that you know. Is always more difficult. You need to really to concentrate on the dog, and of course not on nothing else. But it's more funny to judge a breed. I judged one of the best time I judged was in England. I judged more than 200 Irish setter. The same day was 210, something like this. So, and I was so concentrated. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know any breeder. I didn't know if a person was a breeder or was a pet owner. Sometimes because the dogs are all the same color, I say, oh, the dog with the handler with the yellow or with the blue, because 20 dogs the same color, and when you know anybody, you need really to be concentrate, and it's very nice because you concentrate only on the dogs and not you don't know who is the father, who is the mother, who is the son. If you judge your breed, you know too much. You know the brother, the sister, the owner, and of course, because it's your breed, and it's not your breed is nice because you know anything, and it's really nice.
It's more exciting. Joe Bayliss, before I start with another thing, Joe is asking you at what age an Irish is considered as fully matured, and is it the same age for a male or a female?
No, generally a female is mature much earlier. I think that the Wolfhound are a funny breed because it's not even many immature dogs are very, very nice. So many people say that if a dog is nice when it's too young, is not a good thing, but I don't think so. They are different, are not mature. So if you have a young dog, nice dog, even 1 year or 15 months can win a top award. The same dog 5 years later is completely different, but it's not heavier, it's different. So it's funny. My dog Donneral, when he was young, he was quite too heavy. And so you think that when he became older, he became heavier, and he became lighter, so more houndy. So is the Wolfhound in every age has different shape and a different. Even if it's immature, but it could be very nice to see when they are 15 months. But people say that if the dog at 15 months is perfect, will not be perfect at 5 years. It's not like this for the Wolfhound, because they just change the shape, but are not immature at they are young. So generally, a Wolfhound is in the males mature around 3 years, and the bitches at around 2 years. But many young dogs can win top award because you have the sparkling of the young dog with something special. And in the older dog, you have more shape.
Yeah. Okay. Before I have only 3 more questions for you. We are already speaking for almost 2 hours, and I'm happy that so many people are following and asking the questions. Before I start with my last 3 questions, Francesca Boron is asking you, maybe if you can say shortly something that many breeders obviously in the last time have problems with, about herpes virus in dogs.
Herpes virus is a problem. There is a vaccination, so the vaccination solved the problem. Sometimes is considered every time you have a problem, you say that is herpes virus. It's not always herpes virus. So
of course
you needed to check the puppies or the bitches and the males before, and the puppies if they died, if it's really a herpes virus, because many times people say that the problem is the herpes and it's not the herpes. So, and for the herpes there is the vaccination. So if there is a problem of herpes in a kennel, you can avoid with the
vaccination. Yeah. Okay. So, Beltran, we need your help now. From the last week, we started this new part of the interview, which is called 5 Photos of My Life. So, the same as Mike, Ludovica sent us 5 photos, and Beltran is going to put them now on the screen. And Ludovica is going to tell us shortly why did she choose these 5 photos. So, first photo that you will see now on the screen is a baby Ludovica with 3 Irish Wolfhounds. Tell us why this picture is so special for you.
I still remember that 3 dogs that I like a lot, and it just to remember that I'm with Wolfhound from the beginning. So is special because I always had my life with the Wolfhound.
Okay, so that's a history from your parents to yourself. This I wanted to ask you because I asked many of my guests who had parents involved with the dogs. Are your parents happy that you have stayed in the dogs?
Yeah, but now they are looking at me from far. They are not involved in my breeding. They just give a look to the puppies, but they are no more involved. They are happy that I continue, but they are no more really involved in the kennel and in the breeding.
Okay. Photo number 2 is young Ludovica with the Gordon Setter and Valerie Foss. Tell us about this picture.
Is very important because it's the first best of breed at Craft. So never forget.
Which year it was?
Was 2003. Was just opened the
borders.
The border from. We won a big show in the 2000 because there was Gordon Setter 2000 and we got the best in show with our first Gordon that was 10 years old. And but Craft is Craft. It's something really special.
Excellent. Okay, picture number 3. Are some people in the cage, or this is, I suppose, a car, or what it is? I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, it's
But
a car of a friend, Roger, that we was guest from him, and he say we have a car for 5 people, but we have the cage, so all my family is me and my family in the cage, in the car, in the cage. So this
okay,
is my family, and especially with my husband, I share all the breeding project of Wolfhound, and mostly for the Gordon Setter.
okay. Picture number 4. I suppose it is your parents. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And a picture of you with let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 Irish or 5, 4 Irish Wolfhounds. Tell us something about that.
Yeah, is I put, because of course I need always to remember that is my family started with the Wolfhound, and it's nice to learn from them, and to continues what the project was from the beginning. The same type of dogs, the same kind of dogs they choose from the beginning. I continues to choosing now
Yeah.
that type.
Another thing, because usually when I talk with my guests like this, questions come into my head. How, because obviously you say your parents started with the Irish Wolfhound, and you say they are not so much involved today, but they come and look your puppies. How much do you fight, let's say, sometimes about the puppy that you want to keep, or about the parents that you have used? Do they have sometimes different ideas about what should have been done?
No. They just look at what I do, but they don't. They
Interfere.
just say what they think, but they are not never.
Critical.
They always think the same. Is with my husband that we sometimes we choose different puppies.
Okay.
So that's why I say in the Wolfhound, my word is the last word. In the Gordon Setter, his word is the last word. So
Okay. So
he choose the
luckily,
Gordon Setter, I choose the Wolfhound.
luckily you have 2 breeds, so there is no
That's why
problem.
we have 2 breeds with 2 different kennel names. So
Okay.
it's a good
Okay.
thing
So
to have a good marriage.
yes, now I understand. Okay, and then the last picture is a special person for you with the Airedale Terrier. Tell us about that.
Is Kuka Somi. Kuka was really is the age of my parents, but we go to the show together, like if we have the same age, and is a person that I miss her really a lot. Kuka was a special person, always happy, and she brings the sun in every room she goes inside. She got the best in show at Craft in the 80s with an Airedale, and is a special person, a special breeder.
Okay.
Dog.
Okay. So I will just confirm what Andrew Brace wrote, and he says, loving the additional pictures which bring a totally new dimension to your wonderful interviews. Actually, I said it last week. It was Andrew's friend idea, which him together with me, we have talked a little bit how to implement it. But I think I agree with him completely that I think for people it's so nice to see sometimes these pictures, also some pictures from the family, from the past, and I think it brings completely another dimension to the interviews. Okay, my next question for you is, what would be your advice for someone young who wants to start with dogs and become successful as a breeder, exhibitor, or a judge?
Study a lot, and follow somebody follow a mentor. That's, I think, is very important. If they find somebody that they really think they are working well, they need to follow and study and understand from the beginning, and not think that because they win one show with one dog they know everything. So is really important. It's so easy that in the doggy person they have the first dog who is successful and they think that they know everything. It's so difficult one breed or all the world, dog world, they need to study a lot and follow an old breeder to understand.
Okay.
And go around the world and see a lot of shows and a lot of different situation of that breed or different breeds.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for tonight, Ludovica, for you. We have been talking for 2 hours, and me and many viewers have obviously enjoyed it a lot because there have been 140 comments and 20 shares of the interview. So obviously, people have enjoyed the interview. Because of all the things that are happening in the world with the animal activists and everything. How do you see the future of the sport? Are you optimistic or you are pessimistic? And what do you think that it should be done in the years to come to preserve the sport of purebred dogs?
I hope in some countries the situation could be not optimistic because of this problem. Too much people who doesn't understand really well the breeding project. Many people think that just because we breed we do something wrong. So I think that if in the Kennel Club they try to teach more people, common people, that the breeder is a person who really like their dogs and do more work to let people understand that the breeders, especially the breeders for the shows who can keep the dog in top condition, is people who really love dogs, not dogs who kept in the cage or do 10 liters in their life. This is not the real breeder. They need to let common people know that the big breeders are people who love dogs. And I think if the Kennel Club start moving in that way, common people will understand better that why the breeds, why there are breeders and breed some particular breeds because is a piece of history, because of everything.
Yeah. Okay, Ludovica, thank you once again for accepting my invitation. We have never talked a lot on the dog shows. I mean, obviously we know each other like this, but I have never spoken a lot with you. So I have really enjoyed the interview, and it is amazing how much passion you have for the dogs after all these years of breeding and showing. One can still see this sparkle in your eyes when you talk about dogs, especially about your dogs, which I always consider to be an amazing fact about the real dog people, breeders and judges and exhibitors. I want to thank also to all the people who have been watching the interview from all around the world and leaving the comments. I hope that Ludovica will have time in the next few days to look the interview again and read all of your comments, because there have been a lot of nice comments for you that I obviously didn't read all of them, over 150 of them. So I suppose you will be happy to read them all. I need to say that connected to the news that we got today about the postponement of the European Dog Show in Hungary, my guest next Wednesday will be the president of the Hungarian Kennel Club, András Koros, who is also a Best in Show judge for the European Dog Show, which will happen now in December. And also not only a president of the Kennel Club and the judge, but also somebody who has been a well-known breeder for so many years. So I'm sure it's going to be very interesting again. Thank you, everyone. Last words of tonight, I leave to you, Ludovica, to say something to all the people who have followed the interview, so you can finish tonight's show.
Thank you. Good night, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Ludovica. Thank you, everybody. See you next Wednesday, and good night.
Good night.